Smell from Bangle Whisper. Today I'm going to do a video on a ghost story, and it's a true story, and the name of the story is House Hunt. Now this happened to a friend of mine, so we'll just call her Tina and Ajay. So we just gave them names, Tina and Ajay, because we don't want to reveal the true identity. So Tina and Ajay been looking for a house for a long time, and they were looking from around 2017, and now when 2019 came, it was hard to go even see any houses. Everything was difficult. And then 2021, 22, 23, it got even more difficult. So it was not just the house finding or looking, it was more of a getting a house, because then it became so, if you know about the housing industry now, it's so difficult to find a house and get into a house because of the each house is getting like 10 or 20 offers, and there's bidding on the house, and the people who's giving the highest money is getting, and even getting loan approved is very difficult. So they are looking for a house in a market like this, and then they have seen in from 2017 till 2023 about 1,000 houses, and it was like every weekend they went for home hunting, and to the point they literally giving up. They thought that it's just a dream which is non-achievable. So anyway, they went to see this house, and this was their last resort. So the agent said, well, since agent is very confident that this is a very old house and needs a lot of repairing, so they had a greater chance of getting it. And then there won't be much bidding because house is really huge. It was around 2,400 square foot, and it had 3.5 bathroom. I had 2 floors and a basement. So the first floor is they enter, and then the upstairs is for sleeping. So upstairs had 4 bedrooms and 2 full bathrooms. So it was really big. And then, well, price was little bit higher, but then there were more chances of getting it. So since it was really run down, even though actual price was 700, but they were willing to let it go for 500 even, because it needed tremendous amount of work. So Tina and Ajay thought that they really don't have to do it right away. They can do little at a time. And Ajay was a very handy person, and he knew how to fix paint. So the basic things were working, because the persons who were living, they were actually living in there. So said, if you are not looking for something very beautiful and fancy, then you can just fix it up. But right now everything is in working condition and livable. It just need a lot of cosmetics work. So they were like, okay. So then after all this talk, they went to see the house, and as soon as they entered, they didn't have a good vibe in the house. They thought the house was really had a lot of heaviness, negative energy, and the walls really had a lot of dark patches. So when they asked the agent said, well, the house is old, so could be possible that the walls have gotten dirty over time. It needs painting, or some of the places might be some mold and they painted on top of it. But for the house history doesn't show anymore. But then she said you can get a inspector to inspect, but then since the house was sold as it is, there was a clause that it is as it is. So you can't really do anything. You have to take it as it is if you want to, or just let somebody else have it and they will fix it. So looking at the market and the way everything is, they were like, okay, what other choices do we have? And they settled for that, and they took that. And then the second time they wanted to see one more time. First time they just browsed through, and it was big. It had a big backyard, had a big front yard, but overall the vibe of the house was very low and very heavy and very saddening. But they didn't have a choice, because by now they're so exhausted. They have looked into 1,000 houses, and this is their only chance, because this was something which nobody was putting off for because of the tons of work that it needed. So they put a down payment and they signed a contract, and they were rolling, ready to go. The house was theirs. And then the moving day came. They moved in. After they moved into the house, even not in a month, they're having a lot of issues. Not exactly for the house, but for their own life and happiness and all that thing. And especially the basement, when they went to the basement, or did a lot of noise of door opening and people talking and children crying. So then they contacted the agent and asked her about it, and she said it was 100 years old, and obviously for a house 100 years old, there were many tenants, and some tenants even had the family member died in it due to disease or whatever. But then the biggest shock what she came to is during this 2019 to 2020, even towards 2022, the people who lived in that house actually died. And so it was very shocking to Tina and Ajay. But at this point, they already bought the house was there, and there was nothing they could do, because they couldn't find any other. They didn't have a choice, or to just live in rented place for the rest of their life, or just live with the ghost. So they did a lot of praying in the house and house cleansing ceremonies, and it usually quiet down a couple of weeks and then start over again. And so they were living in there, but they would see from time to time like things missing, the noises, and then there were a lot of fights, argument, and they also saw that moods change. Mood will be very down, depressed, fighting. But when they went outside, the same two people would be like really in good mood and good behavior. But as soon as they came in, they'll start fighting again, the cat fight. So they knew this has to do with the vibe of the house, and they did a lot of blessing ceremony for the house. But things works for like few days or week, and then everything goes back to the same condition. So they didn't have much choice. So, and then the basement would make noises, people be talking there, people crying. So they decided to put it back on the market and see if anybody takes it. And so, but they did live in it for a year, and then decided to put it back on the market a year later. But people came and saw, but there were no buyer because of the work it needed. So they were basically living with ghosts, but these ghosts really were just changing their mind and working on their emotional level, and they just learned to live with it. So this was a true story of a ghost, and to Gina and Ajay seemed like they died. The people who died in there, their souls are trapped and they just don't know where to go. So they would talk and make noise and move things, but that was it. They just wanted some attention. But slowly they started not being afraid of the ghost and just live there until they can find something better, until they can sell it. So this was the story. I hope you like it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, and I'll see you with many, many more.